Well, hi everyone. Welcome to my fourth day of 10 days YouTube Live. And today is actually a really big topic. It's USMLE. So I'm very excited with the topic today because I have teach USMLE for so many hours, thousands of hours, and I'm going to give you my essential strategies, how you can be successful for your USMLE exam. So let's get started. So, because USMLE is a really big topic, it's not possible for me to cover everything. But I figured like I'm gonna put a lot of main topics that I think is essential for you to achieve high score. A lot of it is mindset, concept, evidence-based strategies that you can use so you can score high in the USMLE. And some of them, there are some practical tactics that I would like to share with you as well. So these are the topics that we're going to talk about. What is being tested in USMLE, the exam structure, the pass and fail, and how is this going to affect us? What's the value of USMLE in the matching or match to residency? And why people fail in USMLE, in my opinion, and how to study for USMLE. And how to study for USMLE basically are the main essential strategies. Again, there's so many things. I'm not really sure I can cover everything today, but I'll try to finish it in half an hour. So we're going to be on time. These are the things that we're going to cover today. Understand the three fundamental key that affect your score, concept of choosing what materials or resource that you need to choose to study, what's your study schedule gonna be like, the SIR method. Well, we're gonna unpack that, understanding the value of reviewing every day, how to use Anki, concept of active learning, understand the fundamental key to review question bank, and how to improve fast. Let's say you have a score of 220, 230, and you want to improve very, very quickly, and how to do that. Right. So let's get started. What is being tested in USMLE? Basically, the step one will test you for basic science. Step two, CK, test your clinical knowledge. And step three is pretty much the same as step two. It with addition of the case simulation called the CCS. Now you can check at the website. It has the everything that you need to know, the usmle.org. Now for USMLE step one, if you want to know what are being tested, you can just use first aid because in my opinion, first aid is basically collection of answers in USMLE step one. So those are gonna be the things that they're gonna test you on, and those are the things that you need to study. So these are very basics. I figure I throw this slides because I don't know where you are in your journey. So just for completion's sake, I give it to you. Now, exam structure for step one, there are 8 blocks of exam. Well, one block is only break. So 7 blocks of question, and each block has 40 questions each maximum. So sometimes one block is only 37, 38 is kind of vary, but usually will not be more than 40 questions per block. And you have one block for break. Now the break is actually 45 minutes. There's a 15 minutes tutorial, which we all know that we're gonna skip that because you can just watch the tutorial before you go for the exam. Why use the time for the exam to watch the tutorial, right? So you're gonna skip the tutorial, which is 15 minutes, and they give you 45 minutes break, and 45 plus 15, that's equal to 1 hour break. The step 2 CK is the longest exam. It has 9 blocks. Again, one block is break. So it's the longest exam, is 9 hours of exam. Step 3 is even longer, but it's 2 days. So it's still, step 2 CK is still going to be the longest exam in one day, right? So for step 2, 2-day exam, 7 blocks. For the first day, again, one block is a break. And the second day, you're going to have 6 blocks, but each block only have 30 questions. So you have 45 minutes for each block. And then you're going to do CCS, which is about 13 cases, 10, 20 minutes for each case. Again, you can check usmle.org for more comprehensive information. Now, we get to the main thing, right? USMLE step one is pass and fail. So how does this affect us? So you still need to score high in USMLE step one, in my opinion. Why? There are two reasons. The first one is because step one is the basic science. It's a fundamental concept that you want to keep, and it will serve you lifelong in your career as a doctor. I can say that the step one as a basic science is an evergreen. I mean, step two CK as clinical knowledge, things change, things get updated. Choosing antibiotics gets updated. There are new antibiotics out there. But step one, human physiology, etc., anatomy, biochemistry, they don't really change. It's kind of evergreen. So there's a lot of things that you don't know when you see patients. You want to come back understanding this, using this fundamental concept, and use that to make decisions. Explaining patients is very, very useful for you. So you really need to master step one because it's very, very important. Now, the second reason is because step 2 CK, which still has 3-digit score, is still have 3-digit score. And the score of your step 2 CK is highly correlated with your step 1 score. And this has been proven with the statistic. You see, so if you have a high step 1 score, most likely you're going to have a high step 2 CK score. Now, some of you may say, well, I can still get 200, like 50 or 260, even if my step 1 is 210, 220. Yeah, sure. I mean, you can smoke and be obese and eat not healthy and live up to 90 years old, but it's unlikely, you see. So that's why I'm trying to say, statistically speaking, if you have a high step 1 score, that will correlate to step 2 CK score. And your aim, I would say, is 240, because the aim for step 2 CK in general would be 250. That would be enough for you to match to any specialty. Now, what is the value of USMLE score in matching? So basically, the score USMLE is used as a standard screening process, right? So there are programs that has a cutoff of USMLE score at least 240 to apply, or 220 to apply. So if you have lower score, let's say you got 220 or 220, 230, and USMLE step 2 CK, then you lose the chance to apply to some of these programs, you see? And you might think, well, isn't that, if we have a way to for them to see your CV, even though your score is lower, wouldn't that be, an issue, or issue that should be not be an issue at all? Not necessarily, because I will give you an example. My program has a cutoff score of 240 for step one. At that time, step one was not pass and fail. And I had a friend who was trying to match, and he was asking me, hey, can you tell them that I apply to your program and see if they can take a look at my CV, like bypass the screening process, right? And just jump and then see the CV. Maybe he got like 40, 50 research publications. Maybe he got a really good US clinical experience, great letter of recommendations, who knows, right? So I came to my program coordinator and asked if they can see his CV. And then when they pull out this information, the score was lower than the cutoff. It was less than 240, and said, oh yeah, we can't accept him. So they don't even consider to see the publications or read the recommendation. Also, they just say, yep, nope. We have a cutoff of 240. If he doesn't have that score, not considered. You see, so of course, there are programs out there that would still consider to see, but there are programs like this, and I don't know if there's more. I think most likely there are some programs that's like this as well. So you really lose the chance of being considered from the first place just because of the score. So having a high score really gives you a better opportunity to match, because it's open a lot of options for you. However, if your score is not high, it's not the end of the game. All right. Now, statistically speaking, if you have high score, it's easier for you to match. Now, this has been proven because there is NRMP data, right? They see if your score is 240, your chance of matching is 60, 70%. If you're 250, 70, 80%, and so on. There is a chance, there is a number there. And it's obvious that the higher score is, the bigger the chance of matching. But I don't think it's necessary because of the score. I think it's because somebody who has high score has the attributes that make them able to match. So for example, if let's say you cheat and then you get high score, 270, I don't think that score will make you match because you don't have the necessary attributes that makes you able to get that score. You see, so it's confounded. But yeah. Now, if your score is low, how can you get matched? Well, there are two ways. Sorry. There are two ways for you to do it. First, you apply to a program that has lower cutoff score and is IMG friendly. So that one is obvious. The second way you can do is use what I usually call, or I like to call, the backdoor method. So basically, you want to do a US clinical rotation in an IMG friendly program that has a lower cutoff score. And then you want to stand out, you want to shine, you want to show that you're friendly, approachable, intellectually curious, reliable, trustworthy, all the good stuff. And if they like you, they will recommend you to, they will rank you high in the program and you can match that way. So even if your score is low, it's not the end of the game. It's just lower your chance, it's make it more difficult, but it doesn't mean that it's impossible. So why people fail USMLE? In my opinion, after I teach 1,000 hours of USMLE and see all these students that actually fail and having a hard time, usually the most common cause is because they don't have a clear structure and understand how to study. No clear structure. Sometimes they feel like, I want to study biochemistry. Okay, tomorrow I'm going to study physiology. And tomorrow I'm going to. So there is no real clear structure how they gonna tackle the exam. So I think that is the most common cause. What I see is that's the most common cause why they fail. It's not about, some people probably believe it this way, but I don't believe it's IQ. I don't believe so, especially for graduated doctors. So if you have graduated in your medical school, all right, then you should have the enough knowledge and understanding. You have enough brain capacity to understand and pass the exam. It's just the method and the technique that was not done properly, or you don't have clear structure on how to tackle the exam. That's what I think why people fail USM. Okay, now we move on to the essential strategies, basically how to study USMLE. Again, it's a big topic. I try to cover the essential ones. First, you need to understand three fundamental keys that would determine your score. Now, if you have watched my video before, you will know that there are three main things that I keep mentioning again and again, and those are understanding concepts, memorization, and application knowledge. So this is the idea. So think about it this way, right? First, you need to understand the concept. And then because we're doctors, there are things that it's hard to understand and we just have to memorize, like drug names, for example. These two, understanding and memorization, combined, we call it knowledge, your medical knowledge. Now, you're going to use this knowledge and apply it to solve problems. There are basics problems, there are complex problems, whatever. Basically, you use your knowledge to solve the problem. Now, if you do this well, then your score will be high. But there is one thing that you need to remember. Not only solving the problem, but also you need to solve the problem fast. The reason why it's fast is because the exam is time. So if you're able to solve the problem, but it takes you like 30 minutes to answer one question, then you will not have a good score. Make sense? So understanding, memorization, make your knowledge, use your knowledge to solve problem. That's what I meant when applying the knowledge, solving the problem, and do it in fast because it's time. Now these are really what determine your score. The variation of score between one person to another is really the variation of this. People who understands more, memorize more, and have the ability to solve the problem more have a higher score than the other person. Maybe this person A has good understanding, memorization about cardiology, but not so much about gastroenterology. The other person have good cardiology and gastroenterology as well, and therefore they will have higher score. Of course, the more in depth your understanding, the higher score will be. It is very hard to be very good and understand and strong in all areas, and that's why the score are variable. Sense? Okay, now materials or resource. There are so many materials or resource out there, but you need to know the goal of the resource. What are you looking for? Basically, there are two things that you're looking for. Number one, is this resource give me concepts, understanding, or give me information? So first, you want to look a resource that really give you understanding about concepts. And the second one is the resource that would give you enough information to get you to 240 for step one and 250 for step 2 CK. So there is the understanding part. So a resource that giving you concept makes you understand concepts and providing enough information that's necessary. If you give too much, then it's a waste. If you give too little, then they will test you some things that you never heard of. So you have to have these two. Now for step one, what I would recommend is it's very standard, really, because it has been good. It has go through test of time. It's shown that people who use this resource able to score high. So boards and beyond, UWorld, first aid, pathoma. Now try to think a little bit. I'm going to give you a star. For example, for pathoma, I will give really 5 star for understanding, because pathoma is really good to give you understanding of the concept of pathology, about neoplasia, about the diseases, about hematology. It gives you really good concept understanding that serves for USMLE and for life, your lifelong career. I would give pathoma 4 star for information that you need to know to score high in USMLE, because yeah, it's not really updated. So, but it's good, but it's not completed. So I would give 4 stars. You see. Now let's do first aid. First aid, I would give 5 star for information that is necessary to information that's necessary for you to get to 40 step one to 50. Not really step two for step one to 40 in step one, because it has all the information you need. If it's not listed in first aid, most likely other students will not know it either. You see, so I would give 5 star for that, but I would give 0 star for understanding concept, because first aid doesn't give you anything about understanding. It just gives you the information that you need to know for the exam, and that is very very concise. UWorld, I would give 5 star for information, because if it's not in UWorld, most likely people don't know, and they don't give you like way beyond that's not necessary information. It really gives you that enough information for that you need to know in order to get that high score that you need. And I would give 4.5 star for understanding concepts, because it's writing. Like, you need to read. It's not a video. Video is much better to explain and all those. And boards and beyond, I would give 4 star for the understanding concept, because there are things that they're good at explaining. There are things that not really good at explaining, because it's a very broad. I would give 5 star for the information that you need to score high. Now there is also another resource that I really like. I didn't mention here, Dr. Najib. I really love Dr. Najib. The concept that he explains is really crystal clear. I would give 10 star for Dr. Najib lectures. You will really, really understand. But for information that's necessary for you to score high, I would give it to maybe 2 or 3 star, because there's a lot of information that is very, very detailed that they're not gonna test you on the exam. So it's not a concise resource. So that's how you want to think about it. You want to think of the resource as, is this give me the information that is not for me to score high, or is this resource is the conceptual resource that make me understand concept. That's how you choose your resource. Now, in my opinion, I like online method for step 2. That's for understanding concept. Okay. As for information that needs to be tested, usually first aid was not really good for that. I like UWorld, if not Amboss. And Amboss, especially for the quality and safety, the QI project stuff. Amboss is really good at that. And UWorld has that too. All right? UWorld, sorry, excuse me. I'm going to get something. All right, so UWorld or Amboss would be your main tool to study for step 2 CK. And step 3, I didn't mention that because it's going to be UWorld and it's not really important to match. Now, I need to explain to you about concept of minimal resource. So this is an evidence-based strategy. The less resource that you use, the higher your score gonna be. The more resource you use, the lower your score gonna be. So that's an evidence-based, and every tutor, mentor, whoever YouTuber that you watch, gonna say the same thing. You're gonna have to use minimal resource in order for you to score high. But the idea is actually it's not like, okay, I'm gonna use Boards and Beyond only. I'm not gonna use Pathoma because the lower the resource I'm used, the higher my score gonna be. It's not really that way. The idea is you don't overlap those resources. For example, if you have used Pathoma for pathology, then don't use Golden for pathology because that's gonna be overlapping resource. That's the idea of minimal resource. And don't be too strict. You can add additional resource on the subject that you're weak at. So you'll figure it out after you do question bank or NBME and you see that there is a topic that you're lacking of. Let's say usually IMGs has a hard time on ethics. Then you can get additional ethics question. Let's say from you done UWorld and you want to do Amboss. You want to get additional information, learning ethics. That's okay to use to supplement the subject that you're weak at. But don't overlap. Now, let's talk about study schedule. Basically, the important thing is you have to have a structure on your study. We're going to talk about day-to-day framework, and we're going to talk about the big picture of your study schedule framework. So this is the whole idea, the day-to-day framework. This is, I separated into two. First part is building the knowledge part, and the second part is when you do questions. Okay. So if you are an IMG, the thing is this. Okay, I'm gonna have to explain it first to you. The thing is, the information you got from the other tutor, YouTuber, mentor is kind of directed to medical school that is designed to tackle USMLE. So if you're for Caribbean medical student or you're US grads, you're going to the USMLE. Okay, so they will give you time when you can do your rapid review. Is 8 weeks or 12 weeks dedicated study for USMLE, and their curriculum are directed toward USMLE. If you are an IMG that comes from completely different medical school, you need to have time to really build up the knowledge from the ground because what they teach you in your medical school might be completely different than what the USMLE going to test you. Does that make sense? I'll give you an example. Like before I start studying USMLE, I never heard about severe combined immunodeficiency syndrome. I never heard about Lesch-Nyhan syndrome. I never heard about HGPRT enzyme and all this stuff. So it's completely different. I need to really build my knowledge from the ground up. And that's why I described to you the day-to-day framework, which is you start to build your knowledge first. So you watch the videos, whatever resource that you're going to use, and you complete the information using first aid. Why? Because the videos basically give you understanding, and the first aid going to give you the information that you need to score high. And then you're going to make Anki cards. We're going to talk about Anki a little bit later. And then you continue on, watch videos, combine informations, you make the Anki cards. At the end of the day, you're going to review them. And just keep doing that. Keep doing that. It's as simple as that. And then you're going to decide what topic you start for. Of course, you're going to start at the weakest topic. Now, if you don't know what your weakest topic is, usually you do NBME, but most people know what they're weakest at. You had a feeling what it is. If you don't know, you always start with the basic science first, and then you move on to the organ system. It's that simple. Now, so you go topic 1, and you complete that part of the video or topic. You finish them. You always review every day. Once you finish that topic, you're going to do questions for that topic, and then you move on to the next topic. And then after that, after you finish the second topic, you're going to do one block UWorld topic or the second topic, and then you're going to do one block of topic 1 and 2, and so on. And you just continue doing that until you completely finish all of the topics. Okay. Now, I recommend you only do one block a day, and I will explain to you why at the end. But I recommend you do only one block a day. Now, there's a lot of question about this tutor versus time mode. Should I do tutor mode? Should I do time mode? Well, my answer is that you should do time mode as early as possible, if it's possible, as early as possible. Now, if you don't know, well, I mean, what is early as possible? Like block 2, block 3, that's early, but I can get screw up. Okay, fine. In general, let's say if there are 100 blocks, I believe there are 4,000 ish questions in the world now. So if one block is 40 questions, it's about 100 blocks, right? Now, if there's 100 blocks, I would recommend that you at least start at block 51, you should start time. No, not at block 60 or block 70. At least at block 51, so half, you should start time mode. You should be able to do time mode, actually. What's the reason? Well, it's very simple. The questions are repeated. Yes, UWorld questions are repeated. They ask the same concept maybe twice, if not 3 times. So that's why if you have finished half of it, you should already seen almost all of them. You should be able to do it time. So your knowledge is there. It's just your problem solving strategies that has to be sharpened. All right. Now, before you're going to start doing a time block test, I would recommend you to watch my USMLE Test Taking Strategies, which available for free. You can go to www.juliushardy.com/USMLE Test Taking Strategies. The link is everywhere, basically. You can go to my YouTube channel and you can click the link there, and then it will take you to the page and you'll get it for free. Because my USMLE Test Taking Strategies has a way to approach the question very efficiently, how to do it 50-50, and the time management strategies, which is gold. Okay, so before you do time block test, make sure you watch it, and so you are practice it correctly, so you will not run out of time. Now, spacing, interleaving, retrieval. This is an evidence-based learning strategy. It's actually a really, really big topic here. I'm gonna cover it today. I don't think we're gonna finish in half an hour, but I'm gonna finish everything. Okay. So I don't know how much you heard about this. Actually, the terms itself feels new to me, but I have been doing it when I study for USMLE without realizing that what I have been doing. Okay, so let's start with spacing. Now, a lot of people think when they say spacing, it's a space repetition. That's one of them, but that's not the whole thing. I'm going to try and make it simple. Spacing is basically you give it a space. Give it a space and give it a time for you to kind of recall. So I'll give you an example. Okay. Let's say you watch a video. And when you watch a video, you write notes. Now, think about it this way. If you watch the videos, they explain to you and you write notes as you go, compared to you watch the videos, you pay attention, you wait. If the video is finished, then you open your notes and then you start writing what was the lecture talk about. Which one forced you to think more? First one, second one. Most likely the second one, right? The second one, because you have to recall what did the lecturer said, and then you try to summarize it and using your own words of sort. Now, by just giving it a space, it allows you to push that cognition, push yourself, so you think a little bit more about what the lecturer has to say. So the technique is when you watch videos, don't write it down as you watch. Wait, watch, hold the information, wait, the video's finished, open your notes, or Anki in my case, and then write down. Use your own words. Now, that technique is called spacing. And spacing is also this. Once you finish everything, you write Anki cards, you probably want to wait a little bit more, then you review your Anki at the end of the day. Give it a little bit space. That's also spacing. So it can be used in a lot of, I have been doing that like every single time when I watch lectures. I hold the information, I write it down. Hold the information, write it down. That way you push yourself to actually think and not just write it down. Right. So that's spacing. Interleaving is basically you want to see an information in multiple different directions. Okay? I'm gonna make it this super simple. I hate complicated stuff. Basically, if you receive an information, let's say we talk about left night hand syndrome. okay, which has an HGPRT enzyme deficiency. You don't want to think that, okay, let's not have HGPRT enzyme deficiency, not only from that dimension, but you want to try to think on a different dimension. And the most common dimension that you can use to learn in USMLE would be try to think what kind of questions they can ask, right? So what kind of questions can they give a patient with gout presentation and then ask the enzyme? Maybe they can give you experimental drugs that inhibit this, and then what disease that would represent or similar to, which is HGPRT enzyme or Lesch-Nyhan syndrome. Maybe something else. You see, so you try to think what other things that I can think of, or try to think it in a different way. And the easiest way for USMLE on doing interleaving is try to think what will be the question for this topic be like. And that's interleaving. So whenever you learn a topic, try always think that way. That's interleaving technique. I always do that. I did mention it a couple days ago about the microbiology way. So you want to think of a clinical story using microbiology. So you try to answer what type of bacteria, fungi that would cause the infection, and try to think of what types of different clinical vignette for yourself. So that's called the interleaving. And retrieval, basically the idea is the more often you try to pull out the information from your brain, the more you understand and remember it. And this can be done basically through Anki flashcard. But we need to remember that retrieval has to be active, has to be an active retrieval. If you have passive retrieval, I wouldn't really call that retrieval actually. So if you just review a biochemistry pathway and you just take a look at the picture and you feel like, okay, that's retrieval, I recall this information, that will be not a good retrieval. Retrieval has to be active. Try to draw things from scratch, draw the biochemistry pathway from scratch or anatomy pictures from scratch. These are the type of retrieval that you want to have as active as possible. So these three are the main evidence-based learning strategies that you can use to improve your learning, improve you to understand concepts and memorization as well, building that knowledge, right? Now, I want to touch a little bit the importance of review. Basically, review is the activity that will improve your score. Think about it this way. If you do questions and you don't know what the answer of the question is, will you improve? No, right? So you have to review. You have to see the information. What's the correct answer? What's the wrong answer? Why this correct answer is right? Why this answer is wrong? And that activity is the one I call that review. Is the activity that will improve your score. And therefore, when you review, there are three basic rules that you want to apply. First, you want to review actively. I did mention how you review actively by drawing, verbalizing, something active. You want to review every day. You don't want to skip the review part of the study learning activity because that's the one that improves your score. So if you have a chance of, okay, let's do another block of questions, but you don't end your day with review, you lose the chance. Okay. Rather than getting new information, I would rather review the information and review, because that's really what will improve your score. Now, for question bank, provide enough time to review. My general rule is 1:1 ratio. So if you do one block of questions, that would be take 1 hour. Then give about 1 hour to review. Maybe even 1:2, 1:3. So for example, you can give 1 hour block of questions, 2 hour review, 3 hour review. So 1:3, 1:4. It's much better than you do 1 hour and then you do 1 hour of questions and then you only review it half an hour and then just go through, okay, I got this one right, I got this one wrong, and this is the right answer, this is the wrong answer. Now, that will not be a good review. So this is the reason why I mentioned do one block a day, because when you do one block a day, it gives you time to review very thoroughly for the question bank and allows you to improve. Now, I did mention about active learning, so we're going to do this side very fast. Make sure every time you learn and study, it's an active learning experience. Verbalize, recall, teach somebody, draw from scratch, do something. Don't just open the first aid book and then felt like you study. Okay, so please don't do that. That is the worst way to study. I don't even call that study actually. Now, Anki. Anki is flashcard. It's my favorite and a lot of people's favorite. The evidence has shown that if you use Anki, the step 1 score is higher. So if the evidence shown that, why not use Anki? Use Anki, please. Anki is a digital flashcard that allows you to do multiple things. Active learning, because they give you questions you have to answer. Active, right? Spaced repetition. Remember that spacing is one of the evidence-based learning strategy. So Anki gives you spacing. It's a digital notebook. It's so easy to search and browse and find the information inside that you have put. It stays for lifetime. I still have my Anki I save it, and I can just search whatever information that I have that I've studied long time before. It's amazing. So use Anki. And I really like, and I recommend people to create your own cards, because that's where the cognitive load happen. Now, if you just create cards by copy paste, I completely disagree with that. Don't do that. If you make your own cards by copy pasting the UWorld, because UWorld now has a flashcard feature, copy paste, that's a awful way to study. Don't do that, please. Make it a spacing, right? And make it an interleaving. You read the information, you try to hold it, try to understand it, and use your own words how you understand. Sometimes you don't need to even use words, right? Because it allows you to draw. If you want to draw, and make that connections. So that's an active way to study. I think this is one of the things why people fail USMLE, because they probably forgot how to study. If they're a graduated doctor, sorry, they forgot how they study before. Create the structure. Study actively. You score high. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the fundamental concept of reviewing question bank. There's a lot of videos out there teach you how to review question bank. I'm going to give you the concept, the idea. The idea is, when you review a question, you should be able to answer any variation of question that tests the same concepts. Any variant of question tests the same concept. For example, if the question asks you about dementia, okay, and then the choices are Alzheimer, frontotemporal dementia, Lewy body dementia, and so on. Now, when you review, you should make sure that in the future, if there is another diagnosis dementia question, you should get it right. You should get it right, because there is a question there, and then they give you all the information that you need to answer the question, to differentiate it. Next time, please get it right. Don't get it wrong. And this is the key to make sure that you consistently improve your score and you improve at the end. Another way to think about it is, when you review, make sure that there won't be additional information that can be extracted if you do the question second time. So I'm a big believer of do only one run. I don't do, okay, I'm going to do the UWorld the second time. What would you do second time? The only reason why you do second time, if you don't believe that you review it very well the first time. Review it very well the first time, and make sure that you just review so much that there won't be any additional value reviewing that question again. You got everything that you need to know from that question, right? So that is the idea of reviewing questions. That's the right way to review question bank. Now, when you review, make sure, in order to achieve that goal, right, read, understand everything. Nothing should be missed. Every phrase, every sentence, whether you use UWorld, AMBOSS, every sentence, you need to understand what it actually means. Now, this is usually quite hard and quite tough for your cognition. It should be. But now, there is a little bit an easy way. Before, I don't have ChatGPT. Now, if you have a concept that you don't understand, what is this actually talking about? I don't really understand. I don't really get it. You can copy paste it and then ask ChatGPT, hey, can you elaborate it for me? I make a video how to use ChatGPT to study for USMLE. And this is the biggest one. I wish I had ChatGPT before, because it's going to save me a lot of time understanding concepts. All right. So you can use that, and then make sure you read and understand everything, every single sentence, every table, and all of them. Okay. Now, all questions should be reviewed. Don't review only the wrong one or the right one, everything equally. Doesn't matter whether you get it right or wrong, because what's the goal? The goal is you don't want to make the same mistake, or you got it right and you don't want to make mistake in the future of the question that you got it right before. Complete the information using first aid if you have USMLE step 1, because this way you'll be able to see, let's say they talk about Zing in the USMLE step 1, there's questions about that, and then you can type Zing in the first aid and then see what are the other information that they're going to test in USMLE step 1. So for first aid, you can do that. For step 2, there is not really a first aid. I mean, there is a first aid for step 2, but we don't use it that way. You can just do UWorld. You don't have to use first aid for the step 2. But for step 1, you can complete the information that way. Remember, the second goal of resource is to make sure that you have necessary information, maximize your information to get the score that you want to achieve. And once you've done all that, create your own Anki card. Use your own words. This is the way to actively study. And then at the end of the day, use that Anki to review. I'm sure you're going to score high with this technique. Now, how to improve fast is actually very simple. The way for you to improve fast is tackle your weakness, right? So there's no point on if you already get a good score in cardiology and you keep studying cardiology, you are not going to improve. The only way for you to improve if you hit your weakness. And that's another actually reason why I love Anki, because the one that you're going to review more are the one that you tend to forget because of the spaced repetition algorithm, right? So always tackle your weakness. Now, please note that if a topic is a lot of memorization based, then it's easy to tackle and easy to improve. But if it's a conceptual, it will be harder. For example, in step 1, if your weakness is physiology, that's kind of hard to improve. But if your weakness is microbiology, that's easy to improve because it's memorization based, you see. But regardless, you want to tackle your weakness in order to improve fast. Now, I have a special study tips for you. I'm going to make this video in the future, but I'm going to give it to you right now. Okay. So you find a study partner, and you're going to use, whoops, I'm going to move myself up here so you can all read. You're going to use ChatGPT to create questions that you're weak at, and you exchange questions. This is going to be a really fast way to improve. So, for example, you do UWorld and then you notice, my gastroenterology is not really good. I keep getting wrong questions when they ask about inflammatory bowel disease, or I keep getting questions wrong when they ask about primary biliary cirrhosis and primary sclerosing cholangitis. It confused me. I can remember the markers, which ones it is anti-smooth muscles or anti-mitochondrial antibody. I keep messing this up. Okay, so if you have a study partner, ask your study partner to create some type of questions about that, so it becomes your customized question bank for you that really just tackle your weakness. But at the same time, I hope you do your friend a favor. So you also ask the weakness of that your friend, and then you create questions about that, and then you exchange that question. That is my idea. That way you can tackle your weakness, like specifically. Imagine you can customize a specific question bank for you because of ChatGPT. Now, it's not you probably think, well, what's the difference if I just use Amboss? If I have a low score in gastroenterology, I use UWorld, I can use Amboss and do gastroenterology. The thing is, it's not completely targeted. Like, which part is it? If you're really good at dyspepsia and then the GERD and H. pylori stuff, right? You don't need to tackle that type of questions. You really need that specific ones, and that's the one that you're weak at. So utilizing ChatGPT becomes very, very useful because you really can focus on the specific concepts. Let's say dementia concept. You keep confused which is the dementia diagnosis here. You can always utilize ChatGPT and create questions. I think you get the idea now. So I think this will make you improve your score really, really fast. Right. That's it, the topic for today. Thank you so much for attending this session. And if you have any question, you can let me know. I will be around for another, well, 5-10 minutes. Alan is here. Well, thank you, Alan, for attending the session today. Um, for step two, CK, I think we can schedule a time if you want to. I can email you and then we can schedule a session. Yeah, I'll email you. I'll give you some of my time for free. Just waiting if anyone have any questions. Sorry guys, 7:46, right? It's a big topic, so I'm a little bit over. I got excited talking about USMLE. There is actually still more that I can talk about for USMLE on how to study. I can actually show you how to actually review the question bank, like doing the questions and then extracting all those information that you need and then put it into Anki cards. I can show that as well, maybe in the future. All right. If any of you have any questions, you can put down in the comment and I'll make sure I'll jump in and then answer in the comment section. Oh, and don't forget that I have another gift for you, the USCE Essentials, right? If you um if you're looking for a US clinical experience and would like to know more about the USCE, I put the whole guide in USCE Essentials, like what type of USCE, how to get USC without third party agencies, how to be successful USC, and all those. It's free. You can get it in my website. And it's also is everywhere in my YouTube channel as well. You can find the link. I'm gonna put the link below. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everyone, and have a good night. Bye.